What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be taking a look at a title that has some rough edges on it, but I think ultimately has some really good ideas in here if they can sort out one or two elephants in the room. Today we're going to be taking a look at a title called Rune Coliseum. Rune Coliseum is an indie game where you are a gladiator fighting in the arena in back-to-back fights until inevitably you die. And the entire goal of the game is to try to make the most overpowered build you possibly can while avoiding getting skewered. I've spent about 3 hours with the game, and I actually find it to be really entertaining. Despite the fact that this is a card game, I think it's got a lot of other little areas that give it wiggle room and make it feel a lot more active than your average energy-based card game. And so today we're going to dive on in for about 30 minutes. We're going to take a look at it. We're going to see if it's something you wanted to add to your wish list, or if it's one of those games that's just not for you. I'll let you know about some of the stuff I came across as I go through my 3 hours playing the game to help you decide whether or not that's a good idea. Link is down there, but let's hit a new game. So at the beginning of the title, you've got to pick what class you want to play. I think there's quite a few classes. I think there's like 10 of them from what I've seen so far. I've managed to unlock about 3, only focusing on unlocking classes in the last 3 hours or so. I've got the Slave. The Slave is all about defense. I've got the Sun Knight. The Sun Knight is all about defense as well, but the way that he catalyzes and uses that defense in order to deal damage and get around the enemy is a little bit different. Plus, he looks like Solaire, if that's what you're into. I've got the Ninja over here. The Ninja runs dual wielding, and they've got special rules that I haven't quite gotten around to mastering yet. I haven't practiced enough. Like, I've played a little bit with Ninja-style dual wielding characters, but there's a lot to learn there because each of these classes plays differently from one another. They've got like different mechanics and things going on that you've got to do a couple runs and feel it out before you get there. So like this guy right here is all about blocking and sending damage back based on the amount that you've blocked. This guy does something kind of similar, but with magic spells. This guy right here, you've got extra phases that you've got to be able to trigger in order to deal damage and do that kind of fun stuff. Two-handed guys swap in between different stances while they fight, and so there's some interesting stuff happening here. But we'll start out with the Slave first, because the Slave is basically the core way to play the game. That's how you're going to be starting out as well, in your underpants with a club, hoping for the best. We've got a series of fights right here. Neither one of them seem particularly distinct from one another. I'll probably take the one up top, I guess. That way we get a bonfire in the back just in case we get beat up. Beginning of the game, you're going to get a pact. These are going to allow you, it's basically the bonuses you get in any other run-based card game like this. If you had a run before, you come back, you get something random in order to help you out. I'll take a random weapon, and we got the Old Blade. It gives us temporarily sharp. Okay, I don't know if I'm going to run that right now. Nah, I probably won't, because the weapon that I've got at the moment comes with an extra attack card, and I think I need the attack card to balance things out. But let's get into our first fight, because this is where things get interesting, and I've got a little bit of explaining to do. So the way that combat works in this game is that it's entirely positional, and everything is based on parries, riposte, dodges. There's a lot of cool things to play around with here, and it functions like a timeline. So yes, it is an energy-based card game akin to something like Slay the Spire, but you're playing them onto a timeline, and you're programming your turn as to what's going to happen in the intent of defeating your enemy's timeline, which is played right in front of you. So this guy's going to dash forward, he's going to close the gap, he's going to prepare, and then he's going to smack me with his whip for 8 damage. I've got a heavy status right here. Every single object that you put on your character gives you a heavy status. That might sound like a bad thing because it doesn't deal any damage, it doesn't give you any block, it doesn't parry, it doesn't really do anything. But in fact, these are really interesting and useful because they allow you to space out your turn so that you can get your timings right to defeat the enemy. So presume that on the timeline, I put that attack right there for 18 damage. This game has a mechanic called a duel, where if both of you initiate attacks on the exact same timeline step, the person with more damage breaks through the other guy's attack, cancels it, smacks him for all the damage, and then gets to continue on while this guy's got to recover from it. So I'll send this right here. And there it is right there. We've defeated him on our first turn without taking any damage. We've got 2 more attacks right here, which are coming up nice and tidy. I'll throw those in. I'm going to hold on to that. Nope, I'm going to hold on to that just in case I need it later. I'm going to hold on to these blocks just in case I need it later. And we're just going to outduel him right there. You can see we haven't taken any damage, but he's taking all the damage from us breaking through. This turn, he's going to play around with his ultimate. And so we need to find a way to defeat that. Unfortunately, what we drew out of our total queue of actions and stuff that we can play around with is not going to allow us to line up properly because of that heavy status that he played out front. And I don't have anything to do anything similar. So on this turn, I'm going to grab 16 block. That's going to eat his first attack. I'm going to grab 13 block from my shield right there. And we have a special card in our hand called a riposte. This goes off whenever we successfully block and is used up. And that's the core fundamental way that the slave plays, is by receiving a hit to his shield and then returning fire with a riposte. If you can get this built up to like a fine-tuned machine to where he's hitting you like 5 times per turn, you've got a shield and some armor and a weapon that reflects damage, and then on top of that, you're getting to strike back every single time that he hits you. This guy can be really, really effective in the overarching kind of structure of the game. I'm going to put out 32 damage right there. We're going to block. We're going to give him the riposte, which I told you would go off, so he didn't even get to finish that attack, and then we won. As a reward, we get 2 gold. We get some sacrifice, which is the metagame currency. This game does not have a little XP meter that fills up every time you finish a run. Instead, it gives you a pool of resources that you can spend on whatever you want, and I very much prefer that. We can also get a new card over here. We've got Garrison, which gives us 15 block and makes our block stay till the next turn. I think that's pretty good. And then I've also got a shield bash over here. This right here stacks with other shield bashes, so it bashes the amount of times of shield cards that I've played prior to it. So that might work out okay. But I don't really have any shield attacks right now, so Garrison feels like the best pick. On top of that, whenever we kill somebody, we get to pick one of their pieces of equipment. We've got a Thorned Ore. That's a 2-handed weapon, so it's not for our class. We've got a Hunter's Tunic, and it looks like at the beginning of the battle, it nerfs the enemy's damage. We've also got an Elite Soldier helmet, and so the Elite Soldier helmet makes it so that whenever we play a block, it's kind of goofy looking, but whenever we play a block, it increases the damage of our next attack, and so that'll play into our overall strategy a little bit, but we're not going to hold on to it for too long, I don't think, because there's better stuff out there. It's time for us to fight this guy with the 2 swords, so we're going to want to watch out. It looks like he's going to gap close, and then he's going to throw an attack at us for 16 times 16, and then he's got 16 right there as well. With that gap closer, I think we're just going to have to get the hell out of the way because we don't have enough stuff here to block out his entire turn with like 40 plus damage coming out. So I'm going to backstep, and I'm going to, I think, throw up a Garrison just in case because some of these attacks will actually move him forward as well. And then we'll send it. There we go. So he missed out on his entire turn. Hopefully we get a draw better this time. So he's going to move up. He's got a wait right there. He's got a whole bunch of attacks. I don't have any return fires at the moment. So I'm just going to have to soak this, I think. So we'll put up 2 blocks. And we'll drag that out to right there so that at least we're doing something with our turn. We do have ultimate attacks. You'll see what those look like in a little bit. These right here are actually items on our character. So certain items are called lock items. They lock down the amount of abilities you can have inside your hand, but they usually give you like a powerful bonus or a thing that you can do. So this guy right here just makes it so every single block we play gives us 3 more block and increases our strength, which means we hit harder. This guy right here makes it so on the first turn we have 4 energy. So he's going to move up right into our attack. We're going to block both those. Looks like he's going to randomly use items from other enemies, which is kind of interesting. But I need to cancel out what it is that he's going to do. So he's got a 14 going out right there. Our 18 beats it. That doesn't give us a hop step, but we can cancel right there with a 17 to the 14. And let's send it. Good stuff. We managed to power through. Not a lot of damage dealt, but at least we survived another turn without getting eaten. This turn, we should be able to do something. So I'm going to play a block to get rid of that attack right there so that I can open up on him a little bit. I don't have enough energy to do what I want to do right now. I'll play one weighty card right there. We'll get our damage off block, and now it's time for our ultimate. That's going to do 54 damage and finish this guy off. Fun little animation right there. What you'll find is that as you go through the game, all of the ultimates have their own crazy sort of anime animation that goes off where you're executing the enemy. You're like swinging him around by his ankles and slamming him into the ground. There's one where the guy jumps up into the air and corkscrews with two swords towards you and like drills a hole in you. There's a bunch of fun ones in there that actually I've enjoyed seeing as I play through the game. I'll probably go with conservation offense here because it just deals damage and gives us energy on the next turn. This guy dropped a whole bunch of stuff. It looks like we can get a chess piece that just flatly gives us one more damage on every attack. I'll probably take that since it's immediately useful compared to like all the other stuff that I can do. And then we got a strength potion that we can play around with just in case we need to hit a little bit harder. Alright, this guy right here, what's he trying to do? He's going to close the gap and he's going to hit us for 14. I've got a riposte in my hand right now, so I will likely just give this guy the smackdown. Very nice, dude. We OTK'd him. We OTK'd him. He also got struck by lightning, so there are various environmental factors that can be on the timeline. If you attack during that part of the timeline, something bad happens. If you're resting during that part of the timeline, something bad happens. If you block during that part of the timeline, so on and so forth. He got struck by lightning after we dealt like 60 damage to him from riposte and also from just attacks, and so that's why he went down in one fatal blast. We do need to start filling the deck up with more ripostes because that's this guy's entire strategy. So I think it's a no-brainer to take this guy right here. This is a block pursuit card. One of the fundamental problems you will find with this game, we've actually got a shield right here that stacks up bleeds on the enemy every single time we shield bash or every single time that we get hit. That's just too good not to take. Unfortunately, it's going to add another weight card on in there, but maybe it'll work out and everything will be okay. But as I was saying, one of the big problems you'll find with this game is just that the translation is incredibly poor. This is one of those games that would benefit tremendously from like an actual professional translator sitting down and translating the game. I spent a lot of time staring at cards, trying to mash my way through the clumsy translation to figure out what it does until inevitably I just kind of play it and see what happens. But that would actually be the one big barrier for entry with this game. Everything else is really fun. I'm going to upgrade a card. Oh, that was remove 15 block and retain your block till the next turn. Oh, well, upgrading that turns it into lose 1 block, which is way more useful. I'll probably go, so these right here are inscriptions. Inscriptions are buffs that you get to your character that are permanent that last for the rest of the game. You usually want to pick those in coordination with your gear in order to really mash out gnarly effects on the enemy. For example, on my last run, I was able to stack like 250 bleed damage on the enemy within a couple of turns. This game goes up to absurd numbers if you let it, and I got to the point with that character where everybody just died on like the 3rd turn from bleeding because they couldn't do anything. They couldn't hit me, they couldn't get hit, they couldn't do anything without eating a million billion bleed. We'll probably go with the bottom line because I want to get that elite battle so I can get 2 inscriptions in one run. The black market over here, you can spend money to get random stuff, and then the pool is dictated by what you've bought in the metagame progress, so you buy stuff for the black market that can be in there. You can also use it to get rid of stuff in your deck if you end up not liking one of the things that you're holding. I'll probably pay 12 bucks to get something random from the card list, and it looks like if we do not, so if we have no block, we gain 10 block. That's one of those cards that's a little deceptive. We've got weight charge. That allows us to weaponize our weight, so if this was played following a bunch of weight cards, it deals damage per weight card. We've also got defensive strike riposte right here, though. I'm going to take that because it builds towards our overall strategy, which is basically turtling. After a battle ends, we get 15 HP. That's not a terrible inscription for when things go wrong. When you lose in this game, you tend to lose a lot of HP. Like, you mess up, this is a very punishing game. You mess up one turn, and chances are you're going to really, really hurt. So this guy is a Sun Knight. He's going to try to call down a explosion like a magic spell on us. So what we need to do is we need to move forward and get out of that AoE zone. That's going to cost us 1 of our energy. That doesn't take me all the way up to base contact with him, though, so we're going to have to do it twice. We also have a field of dust, which means that if we attack while that dust is there, we automatically miss, which is not great for us. So let's just send that right there. We'll close the gap. We'll get him smacked. And from here, it looks like he's going to do like a judo kick on us, but it should miss because he's doing it in the dust storm. I've got a riposte in my hand right now, which means that I smack him back if he smacks me. Technically, I could just cancel his attack, though. Yeah, that's the thing, is that, like, your foot is not nearly as strong as a sword. He's going to try to call down magnetism magic on us. That does get me out of the range of the AoE, which is very, very nice. I'm going to bash him with my shield, then I'm going to bash him with my sword. And there it is. We've got ourselves another victory. 2 gold right there. Gain sacrifice. What else we got? I've got an automatic block card that always shows up in my first turn. I think that's a pretty good idea. Let's take that. We've got a broken shield over here. Yeah, we've got a wolf fang club. We've got quicksand plate. And it looks like if there's a sandstorm, we gain block. I probably won't equip that, but that's okay. There's things we can do with this stuff in our inventory. We can sell it. We can break it down, and then we can use the parts to upgrade the stuff that we like, which just makes it stronger. And so we've got options in front of us. Let's take our next fight and see how the whole thing plays. But I found the game to actually be pretty mentally stimulating. It's one of those games that you really got to think about what it is that you want to do. It gets the neurons flowing. He's going to do 16 damage. I've got multiple ripostes, so we're just going to turtle on this turn. And I'll probably smack him with a pot. Not bad. How many ripostes do I get with this shield? Oh, wow, I get 3 ripostes. This little meter right here tells you how many times you counterattack for each block. Last time I played through with this guy, I was stuck with shields the entire time that only let me play 1 riposte every single time I got hit. And so I was reliant on their turns where they're really unloading on me in order to get it done. And so what does that do? It increases the card damage if I do it right there. Hell yeah, let's do that. And then he's got 9 damage going out, so I got to do something about that, but the attack right here should kill him. Or the riposte will. I calculated it wrong, but we're still out of here. Shield bash, so that is also another pursuit, which is pretty good. Sentinel is also really nice because Sentinel, it stays in your hand forever, and as long as you hold it in your hand, you don't play it, you automatically get a riposte. So that can be pretty nice, but I need to count what I have here right now. I'll probably take Sentinel, that way I can stop taking other riposte cards because it's supplying a free one every single turn. And then the other ones that we get will just kind of be icing on the cake, that way I can focus on building in a different direction. He's got a practice stick and a broken sword. He's got a hunter's hat. It blunts the enemy's damage. I'll just take that so I can break it down later. And then we've got our first elite fight. These tend to be the guys that come out smelling like ozone and have a few more tricks to play on you. It's the Sun Knight. So he's going to charge in and engage with us. I'm going to block that first hit right there. He's got 26 total coming out on his turn. Okay. I don't really have a lot to play around with here. But we can just turtle up and play all of our blocks while playing that card that allows us to keep our block for the next turn. And that should be okay. I don't have anything to return fire with. And unfortunately, this guy's mechanic is every time he hits you or every time he... Or no, it's every time he blocks. So every time he blocks, he gets a light element. And then he's got an ability that allows him to detonate that light element, which is real bad. You don't want that to happen. What is this right here? So that's going to allow him to hit us back with 3 cards. But I don't think it matters because we've still got our block maintained from last turn, so we should be in really good shape here. I'm just going to hit him twice. Yeah, and we came out on top in that exchange, so I'll take it. He's going to detonate his light magic on us, and it's going to do 40 damage. That is problematic, and I don't love it. I didn't pull any blocks, so we're just going to have to eat that. But I don't want my attack to go off at the same time as his, otherwise his will cancel mine. So we're going to step it back. I mean, unless that deals enough damage. It does not. It does 35. Okay. So let's just stack up attacks on the back end then, and we'll hit him back after he hits us. So we got Death Lasered pretty good right there. Wish that there was something I could have done about it. This turn, he's going to give me a Scorching State. Okay. He's also got a bunch of attacks in there. I'm going to use this to see if I can draw more return fires. And I did not draw more return fires. So unfortunately, all we've got is this defensive strike right here going back out against him on this turn. But I'll live with it. It'll be okay. Big block right there. Big block right there. And now it's time for our ultimate. Let's finish this dork off. Oh no, he had enough block to get around it. I wasn't paying attention. That was a pretty serious misplay that's going to have catastrophic consequences. Let's play the burn status. Oh, he's going to laser me. I need something fast right now. Unfortunately, I don't really have anything fast. I'm just going to send it. Yeah, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure that attack right there, because it's magic, doesn't cancel everything, and I've been saying it wrong. I don't love any of these picks, but I'm going to take this one because every windup that's on his timeline gives me 5 block with that one, and I think we're a little bit low on block cards right now. And I would like to have more block cards. I will take this hat because it gives me block for the cards that I play. And then we get a inscription. So at the start of the battle, whenever there's a lock of Holy Nail, gain 3 strength. Okay, I think I have that. I actually don't have that, so meh, what are you gonna do? Useless right there, but maybe we'll pick something up for it later. I need a bonfire pretty badly, and I need a smith pretty badly, so we'll go into this battle right here with this guy. We'll see if we can pull anything good out, but he's a dual wielder, so they can be a little bit wily. Dual wielders get to do some special stuff that can be a little bit confusing if you've never played before. Let's go with an offensive card right there to cancel his, offensive card right there to cancel his. And I don't really think we need block, but we've got the extra energy, so I'm just going to play it. I'm going to play the heavy status. And we do get a riposte, but I think we're going to cancel both of his attacks, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, both of his attacks got canceled, so we're in good shape right there. We pulled a bunch of blocks on this turn, but we don't have any retaliates, so that's just bad luck. I'll play those two, and then we'll play this guy right here. Just for some extra damage right at the outset. We'll block both of his attacks, and then this should be a nice and easy peasy lemon squeezy finish. This card is super situational, but if it works, it does a ton of damage. I'm going to take it just for the lulz. I don't think we'll actually get to play it. Gladiator helmet over here. We get more strength if our health is low. I'm going to take it just so I can break it. And then we've got an item technique over on this side, so I can get myself a free block card whenever I want. We'll go to the Blacksmith, and the Blacksmith allows us to, as mentioned, modify our gear. So if we take all this stuff over to here, you'll notice we're getting common shards for each time that we do this. And then we'll get an elite shard right there, too. We'll go with this upgrade right here so that we get more block for each thing we use. I'll probably upgrade the strength on this guy so that we hit harder. But now it's at max level 3. I'm not planning on holding on to this shield, but I'll upgrade it for now. It's probably a waste of resources, but it's not like there's any shortage of loot that drops. So I think we'll be okay. We got another dual wielder over here, so let's see if we can kind of like put him to sleep. I'm going to cancel his attack right there. I'm going to draw 3 cards. We're going to open strong on this guy with 75 damage. Good stuff. Messed him up something proper. Okay, so we've got ripostes in hand. He doesn't have any action weakness, so... Well, he's got one... But we need it to line up with these little arrows right here if we want the effect. So I don't think it's going to be that helpful. So we'll just block up on this turn and we'll kill him with parries. There it is. Ooh, Death Riposte. Gives us 3 ripostes into our hand. We can only use it once per fight, but dude, that thing's gonna be pretty good. When this weapon hits, deal 1 burn to the enemy. I don't think that stacks up quite as well as the bleeds that we put on them just by blocking over here, so I think we'll be okay to just take anything so that we can break it later. And now we've got a bonfire and a boss, so let's restore some HP. And it's boss time. Bosses in this game are not randomized. As from what I can tell, you get the same boss every single time you play through the game, the same boss says. There's not just one, there's a whole bunch of them. They all have like a different gimmick or a different gag that they do. This guy is trying to push you backwards, and he's trying to establish dominance because I can't slide the perspective right here, but there's a spiked wall that way, and he's trying to pin you against the spiked wall so that every time he deals damage, he gets like double damage, and it's not ideal. So he's a little bit out of range right there. I don't know that either of those is actually going to hit. Let's just block up for a second and see what happens. I'll throw that in there just in case. Okay. So he's got a longer reach than I thought he had. Fair enough. So he's going to deal 55 damage after some prep time. I think I can overpower him with that attack right there because the green damage only triggers if the first damage is actually soaked. So I think we're in good shape right there. I'll throw up some quick block just in case it doesn't work that way. And we've got 22 block right there. That's not too terrible. Like 44 sitting up top, so we'll be all right. Yeah, we canceled him out. He's got a barrel attack right here. The barrel attack, wow, dude, I have a lot of defensive strikes right now. I'm going to pull a prep card with my potion. Oh, that's not what I wanted to pull. I was hoping to pull a block. Ugh. Okay. Well, the 20 damage shouldn't go off right there. The secondary damage, I don't think. And I don't have a way to, like, get in the way of it and make it not happen. But we do get a lot of ripostes on this one. I already have 3, so technically I don't need to exhaust this in order to get 3 more on this turn. So I'm not going to. I will throw out some extra damage, though. Not bad. Actually, we're doing a pretty good job against this boss, just like turtling our ass off right now. It's not going poorly. So he's going to get a free ultimate right there, and then he's going to move that forward. Okay. To my eye, now would be the time to play that to get a bunch of ripostes. I'll smack him once. Very nice, dude. Buried him. Absolutely slaughtered the guy. Alright, so we've got some sacrifice there. We've got cards ready to rock. I'll probably go with this guy. It gives us 3 times the amount of block ability and block that we have, so that's a 27 block right there that doesn't consume or anything else, so that's really, really helpful. He's also going to give us a special engraving for having beaten the boss, and so I would say reversed gravity is probably the best one here. What this does is it makes it so all of our weight cards now give us energy. You can't put them in the timeline any longer, but you can play and spend them as free energy points, which will probably be useful in the future. I've had good luck with that play. But Rune Coliseum is a really good game. If you guys wanted to take a look at the metagame progression, it's back over here. You've got your unlocks on this side, and so you can, let's see here, let's go back. You can unlock things for the black market that'll come up in there. You've got different unlocks that make your character stronger as you go forward by applying your sacrifices to this god of the arena or whatever. We've got characters that we can unlock. I think there's like 8 or 9 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I'm bad at counting. There's 7 of them. And as you advance your knowledge and you give more sacrifice to that character, they get new starting criteria that you can swap out for the ones that they have, thus giving them more options and more ways that they can play through the game by giving them pretty solid passives that change the way that they play. And then, of course, we've got different things that we can unlock on this side as well when it comes to various cards and various things that we can play and equip and so on and so forth. So far, I'm really happy with the game. My only piece of advice is have the game professionally translated, because the translation is rough enough that sometimes you will sit there staring at cards trying to figure out what the hell they do. but that's the main barrier to entry here. Other than that, this is a tremendously unique, interesting little game that I found to be incredibly addictive. I will see you all later. Thanks for stopping on in, and that's all I got for you. Bye, folks.